Hello everybody and welcome back. Good to talk to all of you again and welcome back to another ship review. And today we're looking at this British Tier 10 reward battleship, the Thunderer, which is currently in the armory for 252,000 coal. Before I start the review, a couple of things I have to get out of the way. Number one, this ship has been provided to me from Wargaming for no cost for review purposes. The views that I have of the ship are entirely my own and do not reflect the opinions of Wargaming or the World of Warships staff. Second, I am allowed to give one of these away, typically speaking, when I finish one of these review episodes, so I do apologize for the episode being late, but I do want to give one of these away, so so here's the video. First things first, let's take a look at the ship in port, and then I'll show you some battle footage. She is, in many ways, a conqueror. In terms of her armor, her layouts, in terms of that, protection-wise, basically she is a conqueror. 32 millimeters all over, so of course that means she is highly vulnerable to HE spam, especially from heavy cruisers with 203 millimeter or above, or light cruisers with IFHE. So this is one of those major weaknesses that, shared by the ship and Conqueror. Of course, Conqueror can kind of mitigate it with her super heal. That is something that Thunderer doesn't get. Furthermore, because of the updates to the way the ships are, Thunderer's Citadel is above water. So if you go broadside, yeah, get ready to be Citadeled by other battleships. And once again, of course, no super heal, so she is in a little bit of trouble there. Other than that, she's still very much a battleship, so if you angle correctly, she can still bounce shells, just, with those certain weaknesses that I mentioned earlier. Torpedo protection is not all that great at 28 millimeters. She does, of course, have 457 millimeter guns. So, unlike Conqueror, her turret face armor is actually quite good at 456 millimeters. If you take a look at Conqueror, you will see that Conqueror only has 381 on the turret faces. Thunderer is able to resist direct hits a little bit better when, they're hitting at the front of the turret, reducing incapacitations. All right. What is special about her then? If she's, armor-wise, the same as the Conqueror, and she doesn't have the super heal, does she stand out in any kind of way at all? And the answer is yes, she does. And she stands out because of her guns. She only has 8 of them, 457 millimeters. Now, 457 millimeters is a very good number. Why? Because it allows you to overmatch cruisers that have 30 millimeter, center deck areas. So that is really good. Most cruisers in front of 457s don't stand much of a chance at all. Another thing to pay attention to, 24.3 kilometer range. Take a look at her dispersion number, 234 meters. Then take a look at Conqueror. Conqueror at 24.3, 281 meter max dispersion. It means that Thunderer has actually significantly better dispersion numbers. Her dispersion is a lot better than Conqueror, which allows you to definitely get more of those shell groupings that allow you to get those good hits. Another thing, of course, is the fact that she reloads in only 22.9 seconds, where if you compare it to Conqueror reloads 26.4, and that's with the reload module. Thunderer, better reload as well. So all these things are kind of working for her. And now you consider the fact that she's good reload, good dispersion, and then her HE fire chance is like 65%. So it's phenomenal, right? She is able to do some pretty serious HE damage, and of course you are able to use her armor piercing, especially when you're running into, like I said, those pesky cruisers. They're trying to keep themselves safe using that middle section, typically 30 millimeters, to try to bounce shells. Well, with 457s, you just simply don't care. Hit them anyways, and you'll do some pretty good damage. A defense is another one of those things where Thunderer is different from Conqueror. In terms of their guns and their DPS, they're pretty similar, but what Thunderer does have is the defensive AA fire consumable. In the current game with CV sort of roaming tier 10s, this does offer you an extra layer of protection, allowing you to keep yourself a little bit safer from airplanes. Something that Conqueror can't do. But again, this is kind of offset by the fact that you don't have that super heal, which at times it makes it hard to play Thunderer as well, because you can't be as aggressive because you can't regenerate your ship. Maximum speed, 31 knots for the Thunderer. If you compare it to Conqueror, well, that's basically the same, right? These are very, very similar ships in most cases. However, one thing to pay attention to is notice Conqueror's rudder shift is 17.3. Thunderer's rudder shift is a very nice 8.3 seconds, so it does allow you to whip that rudder around back and forth, making yourself a bit of a harder target to hit. Again, a necessary thing for a ship that doesn't have that super heal. Finally, detectability range is okay at 12.3 kilometers, especially for a tier 10 battleship, allowing you to kind of sneak away and appear in sort of uncomfortable positions for enemy teams. I've mostly talked about, of course, the consumables, again, damage control party 2, repair party 2, and DFA. But again, not a super heal, and DFA is pretty standard, right? Increasing your damage per second for your A by 50%. So that is pretty standard DFA, again, making airplanes a little bit more uncomfortable to come near you, let's just put it that way. In terms of your upgrades, this is pretty much what I would recommend. You probably go main battery mod 3 for this one here, concealment systems mod 1, steering gears mod 2, you can probably do aiming systems mod 1, DFA modification 1 if you have it. If you don't have it, you can take damage control system mod 1. And then finally, of course, main armaments mod 1, that's your pretty standard build there. And as for your captain build, again, you're going very standard battleship build, which is generally going to be something like priority target. Of course, you can make the argument for preventative maintenance as well, but that's really up to you. And then adrenaline rush, superintendent, concealment expert, and then fire prevention, basics of survivability, and expert marksman. And that's pretty much how she is from the port view. Let's show you some of the things I'm talking about in battle, and then you'll see how she's performing there. So here we are on the Two Brothers map, and I will talk about things that happen in this battle, things that are notable. And one of the first ones, of course, is that if you see battleships that are bowing-ish to you, load HE, fire HE. If you see a cruiser like this Des Moines, you probably want to load armor piercing. My first couple of salvos in this battle were absolutely awful. It's just, sometimes it just happens. You just don't aim well. And that's what I did. Didn't aim well, and potato first couple of my shots. Anyways, aside from the things that happen in this battle, I will of course mention some other things as well. One of the first things I forgot to mention earlier when talking about the armor is that 32 millimeters everywhere means that you're super vulnerable to ships like Yamato and Musashi. Things that can overmatch you really suck for you, and they can totally ruin your day. So one of the situations that you're going to find is that Thunderer has much the same weaknesses as Conqueror in the pushing department. She is not very capable of that, shall we say. And also, yeah, HE salvos like that hurt like hell, because when they hit your superstructure, all the things that hit like your upper belt, hit your center deck area, that all becomes damage. So you're very vulnerable to that, and of course you don't have that super heal. So Thunderer, I think out of all the tier 10 right now, possibly, you could argue, is the least capable of pushing. She just doesn't do very well in the face of either sustained fire or, like I said, running into ships that overmatch you. So yeah, that's one of her issues, shall we say. Another one of Thunderer's weaknesses is the fact that she is rather dependent on having teammates that don't suck as much, let's say, as the enemy team. So you really do want destroyers that can maybe help you screen a little bit, maybe another battleship to offer up their tankiness in order to absorb some of that pressure off of you. If you play in a situation where, let's say, you're the sole battleship on a flank and then your destroyers die, then you're going to have a really bad time, because you can't disengage effectively, you can't drop off the tech, because the destroyer can keep you spotted, and if they can keep you spotted, you start to eat a lot of spam from IFHE 152s or from heavy cruiser 203s, or, you know, especially against things like Yamato, they will just hit you and hit you and hit you for tons and tons and tons of damage. It is one of the reasons why I would say that if you're playing Thunderer, you almost want to be in a division just so you can use division mates to sort of mitigate some of your issues. So you'll probably notice that in this particular game, I've got some support from a destroyer, I've got a support from a heavy cruiser, and those two can work together to deal with, you know, let's say a destroyer that was, let's say, on the flank there. They can screen for me, I can, you know, sort of see things coming ahead of time, have a better idea where things are. This will allow me as a Thunder player to be able to say, okay, that place is probably not as safe, you know, if I need to disengage or drop off the tech, I can go this way instead, etc, etc, etc. Enemy team on this particular game decided to have two ships rush down the middle, so Montana came out and ate a salvo from me. Of course, this Montana is now angled, and so this salvo is going to be ineffective. Now, of course, if the Montana stays in this kind of angled state, then I would load up the HE, but I have a feeling, judging by his position, he's probably going to end up trying to go broadside again in order to delete that Mossville on my team that's, well, currently reversing and full broadside. So wait for that Montana to do that, line up another salvo, and fire. Thunder reloads relatively quickly, and as you can see, the dispersion, well, the salvo, not the best, but it can be reasonably good, and with 8 shells, you do kind of need that dispersion, and she does get it. Alright, so with 2 boosters spamming down that Montana, with Montana having that much health, I decided, okay, probably not so useful to focus my attention there. Time to turn my attention somewhere else. Okay, there's a Des Moines. Des Moines at like 20-something thousand HP. Trying to line up the shot here. Okay, and fire. 20k HP. Alright, reasonably good salvo there. I'm going to catch him in the sort of the rear aft magazine there. Sit it down for the kill. And now, of course, I'm looking at the minimap and I'm like, alright, the only other close thing is the Montana, so switch to HE. That Montana is probably going to try their best to stay angled. And this is Thunderer's option. You can constantly switch between these 2 ammo types, and you can really deal effectively with most targets. Again, you do struggle with certain ships, right? Yamato, that's a ship you will struggle with. Yes, you can still do damage, but you kind of want to stay at a distance where the Yamato is not super comfortable with its gunnery. Yeah, you can definitely do that, where you can get like 10k plus salvos with the HE, get a couple of fires, wait for an enemy to even put out their fires, set a couple more. You know, Thunderer definitely can do that. She just is effective in this regard. Anyways, going back to, I think, the earliest topic, well, not earliest topic, one of the earlier topics I was talking about, she does require division mates, though. So, you know, it does allow you to mitigate some of her weaknesses. You know, you can have someone who is going to be around you, who can offer you that certain degree of support. Now, I have actually played Thunderer solo. In fact, I think quite a lot of my games with her were either solos. I might have had games where I was in duos, although with Thunderer, you really want to be in a group of 3 ideally. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that, like I said, she has quite a lot of weaknesses, and she is more of a almost a support type battleship. You know, like she, with her sort of lack of durability, it's challenging to play her as any kind of frontline battleship. And of course, when you're playing in random games and you don't really have much of a team sometimes, you run into a situation where sometimes you're forced to play roles that the ship just isn't all that great in. You know, aka, hey, look, you're the only battleship on the flank, and now we need you to go ahead and try to do all this by yourself. And she just isn't really great at doing that. So Thunderer is, the way I see it, you know, she's really fun in divisions. You know, she is really good in some circumstances. She's not one of those battleships that I would universally say, yeah, I can take this, you know, ship into battle every single game and, you know, always have that kind of battle impact. Just doesn't have that, but you know, she is capable of doing certain things quite well, right? So that's what I'm saying, like, she needs a little bit of support to cover up some of those weaknesses, and if you can do that, then she really fits into her role nicely. Okay, so this game is actually rapidly coming to a conclusion. As you can see, the enemy team is well, they've got a few more ships left, but we're really pushing on them really hard. This Montana here, not doing so hot, you know, 20,000 HP. Their Kurfürst is on the, wow, talk about the extremes of the 10 line there. But then again, our Montana is kind of also doing the same thing all the way south. So yeah, I mean, they're kind of on the extreme side of where they should be, but okay. Thunderer also currently has that Race Citadel weakness, and that's another thing to talk about. When you're fighting most battleships, like I said, Yamato, Musashi, you have to be really careful of them, because their guns, being able to overmatch you, really hurts. Most other battleships, you're relatively competitive, you can fight them. However, pay close attention to your distancing, right? You don't want to be in a situation where you're too close so that they're easy to, let's say, get good salvos on you, because if you're forced into a situation where you're too close, let's say you're forced to go broadside or whatever, you can expect to get clapped for like 40,000 damage, maybe even more. You know, and I've had that on occasion where it's like no choice, have to turn out, and unfortunately, you know, one turnout and it just, there goes more than half your HP sometimes. Yeah, it hurts. It really does. Also, that Salem, I mean, I technically should have had AP for him, you know, and this is the argument that you could make for Expert Loader as well, just to quickly switch ammo. Originally had the salvo loaded for the Montana, but hey, you know, the Salem was in front of me then and there, and the HE can do damage. I mean, I've seen good salvos on cruisers sometimes. doing an excess of like 10k with fires, so you know it's entirely viable to fire that as well. Okay, got the AP loaded. There's a Hindenburg. Hindenburg doesn't really matter, you know, like you don't have to worry about the armor at all. If you hit them in the right spot, you will get damage. And then of course yeah, the Hindenburg turned. Alright, that was not a really good salvo at all. Alright, enemy Des Moines. This Des Moines made a mistake. You're too close, you know, and I think the Des Moines notices it as soon as, you know, obviously I'm turning and getting my guns around. The Des Moines probably like, oh crap. But Thunderer just doesn't care. Load the AP, fire to Des Moines. The center deck armor section there doesn't save him at all. So 5 penetrations, 21,000 damage. So, you know, hey, it hurts. It really hurts. And of course, I've got another salvo ready really soon. Thunderer's reload is a really strong aspect of the ship. You can get off salvos a lot quicker than sometimes people are anticipating. And there it is, another blap there on the Des Moines, and that's it for the game. Actually, we've won out on points. Their last ship is on the eye line, you know, from the 10 line to the eye line, so pretty good, really far away from the action. Take a look at the end results screen, and there we go. This is not the best battle I've had in this ship. 172,000 damage. I think the best one I've had so far is like close to 200, and you know, probably go over 200 as well, depending on the situation of the battle. Didn't really even set that many fires, only 3 of them this round. But, you know, hey, reasonably good damage numbers. I've missed out on the top of the team by just a little bit here. 21, 26 base experience. So close to the top. Anyways, also, going back to this, there you go. That was one of the Montanas, 60,000 damage. Most of that, if I remember correctly, was from fires and HE, so you know, that's not bad. And then, of course, credits earned, net earnings with a premium account, 340,000, without premium, 177k. So, final thoughts on the Thunderer. She's not a bad ship, actually. She can be kind of fun to play. She has her weaknesses, she has her strengths. She's kind of one of those ships where I'm like, oh, you know what, surprisingly balanced is probably the way to put it. You know, she really rewards people who can aim really well and can get the most out of her guns, but she definitely has her weaknesses in terms of survivability and sort of durability. If you think that this is your kind of thing and you're interested in this kind of ship, I would definitely recommend getting her. You know, she can have a lot of fun with this particular ship. So, you know, that's really my thoughts. You know, if you've played with her, you've had some experience, leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Aside from all that, you know, take care of yourselves, have a good one, and I'll talk to all of you again soon.